Start now.
Okay. All right, Molly, do I have permission to muscle test you?
Yes.
Any injuries that I should know about?
No.
And this arm is good to use?
This arm is
Okay, great. I'm gonna push on your arm straight to your side like this, and you're about a 30-degree angle. Your thumb is slightly inward. I'm gonna have you give a little tap on your side when you're ready to have me apply pressure, okay? And I'm gonna have you always breathing and looking straight out, okay? All right, tap when you're ready. Okay, how did that feel? Good.
steady.
Yeah, and that was a testing in the clear that seemed strong. That's what we want. Would you touch your chin and sweep straight down the midline and off to the side? Ready? And okay, and then sweep straight up the midline. Touch here, just stay there. Okay, how did that feel? That seems strong, and then when we went down, it was unlocking. That's exactly what we're looking for. Okay, I'm gonna let your arm rest for a second, and now I'm gonna have you just hold this arm here, and I'm gonna do a little squish to mush, and that's the response I expected. And now lengthen to strengthen, so I'm trying to spread these fibers this way, and that strengthened it. Squish, and lengthen to strengthen. Lovely. Perfect. So that tells me that I have a good, reliable indicator muscle. So I'm going to do something called an alarm point balance. I'm going to have you touch your top lip. Now, there's a bunch of points on the trunk of your body. When you touch some of them, they're going to cause your arm to unlock. Other ones, you'll touch it, no change. You'll feel that same strength that you felt here when we swept up and when we tested you in the clear. So if it feels like it's kind of weak or glitchy, just don't fight me, let it go, okay? And I did ask you before, I said to just match my pressure. If I push hard, you hold hard. If I just push light, just match what I'm doing. Okay, so take this hand and touch your top lip. And let's see if this locks or unlocks. You ready? Hold. Okay, that felt locking to me. Touch below your lip. Okay, so this was governing, this is central. Hold. Okay, let's test that again. Ready? Okay, so what does that one feel like to you?
Not as strong.
Yeah, that would be an unlock. So, Diane, would you, that chart there, yeah, and you, go ahead and grab the charting note, the chart note. And why don't you just write down, that's, okay, sure. Central, we're gonna just make a check mark for central. Yeah. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna check all the alarm points, and then we're gonna go back and we'll ask the body which order it wants to correct in. And that's a little bit different than the way that some of the earlier students learn. We called it like fix as you go. We would find one and we would immediately stop and correct it, but there's a quicker, efficient way where we just test all of them, and then we ask the body's preferred order of correction. And that's how we'll do this today. I think it's gonna be a little bit swifter and smoother. Okay, so we marked down that her central is off. Okay, would you touch your point right up here? This is a lung point. You just touch that and I will test. You ready? Hold. Okay, and then touch over here. When it's a bilateral point, you guys, I want you to test both sides. But if this would have unlocked on one side, I would say, well, let's just mark it as off. Okay, you ready?
The pressure that I should have on these points is how much?
Yeah, medium to firm. Okay, not super light, because when she presses medium to firm, it will show under energy in her body, and that's what we're looking for. And then we will apply some corrections to bring energy to the ones that are at a deficit. If we tested super light, we would be testing over energy, but that's very useful, but it's not what we're doing now. We're looking for under energies in the body with the firm touch. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, you ready? Hold. Okay, that seemed good to me. Okay, I'm gonna have you go right between your breasts for pericardium. Okay, hold. Okay, so Diane is our scribe, she's gonna mark that as off. Okay, then right at the xiphoid process, we've got heart. You ready? Okay, and then below, between the belly button and the xiphoid, about a third of the way down, we have stomach. So go ahead and press on your stomach. You ready? Okay, we'll mark that one as off. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm gonna have you take your hand and cover, where's your belly button at? Okay, so we're covering 2 points, one on each side of the navel. It's the large intestine. Okay, and you're always looking up and out and always breathing. Ready? Okay, that seemed walking to me. We're gonna test 3 together. So I'm gonna have you put your hand like this, and we've got triple warmer, small intestine, and bladder. We'll test all 3 of them, and if it unlocks, we'll check individually to see who is out of balance. Okay, this is a little time saver too. Okay, ready? And you're always looking out. Okay, so I found that to be unlocking. We'll do it again, just in case. Okay, now we need to individually check those. So your belly button is where? So they're about evenly spaced between your navel and the top of the pubic bone,
Okay.
the superior border. So we've got triple warmer, small intestine, and then bladder sits right on the superior border. So let's go ahead one at a time. Here's your navel. So we'll go with triple warmer first, and you can use a couple fingers or 3, that's fine. Okay, triple warmer. And that seemed fine. The next one is,
It's like a coon.
yes. Assume.
Soon, sorry.
Okay, and now we've got triple warmer, small intestine. Okay, ready? And then the very last one would be bladder, right on the superior border. You ready? Okay, so we'll mark bladder as being unlocking. All right, so we've got, where's your rib margin at? Right here? So I'm gonna have you lay your hand right across your rib margin so that you're covering the bottom of where the round of the ribs is. And then you're gonna be right, just
So
put your
their
hand,
palm should be-
We'll test each side like this. So we've got gallbladder and liver. Gallbladder, liver. We'll do
So
each side.
Palms on the ribs and fingers are off of it.
That's perfect. And then if it unlocks, we'll check them individually and see if it's gallbladder or liver. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
And always looking out, not down so much, but okay, ready? Okay, and then because it's bilateral, I'll have her just put her hand over here, just in case the right side is showing. Pull. Okay, nothing there. All right, so I'm gonna have you take your hand and put it on your hip, right where your hip bone is. If you put it here, you're gonna be checking a spleen point on the side of your body. And after that, I'll have you just put your hand at your back, like this. So we'll go spleen, kidney, and then we'll check the other side, spleen, kidney.
On the hip bone or between?
Yeah, just setting there.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, perfect. So we're checking spleen, ready? And you're looking out. Okay, and then go ahead and you can use the back of your hand for kidney. You ready? Okay, so we'll mark kidney down, but we will definitely check spleen on this side. So do you want to, can you just, there you go. She's pretty limber, she can wrap her arm around. Ready? Got it, spleen. And because we already found the kidney off on the other side, we don't need to test the kidney on this side. I mean, we could, but we already got our answer. Okay, so those are all the alarm points. Diane, okay, so we have central, pericardium, stomach, bladder, kidney, and that was all of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to do is I want to ask, what is the preferred order that your body wants to correct these in? So I will just say, okay, I'll just start at the top. The first one, and I have this sectioned out into three different, I have dark lines sections, so I'm gonna say the first one is in this first box, and I'll just go down that row and I'll put numbers right by the sides, what I come up with. Okay, so the first organ that Molly would like to correct is in the first box. Okay, it's central. Okay, so central is, I'm gonna put a number 1. Okay, the next one, I'm just going down the line. Pericardium is number 2. I get a strong yes on that, a strong lock. The next one would be stomach. Okay. The next one is bladder. No, the next one is kidney. Okay, so kidney is gonna be number 4, and then we're gonna jump back up to the last one is gonna be bladder. Perfect, okay. All right, so I'm gonna have you lay down on the, lay down on the table. And you can decide. track for me? Okay, so we're gonna turn, so central. So I'm turning in my balance guide to the page that central is on, and it's on page 5, and it's at the bottom here. Okay, so her body is gonna ask for either a structural correction. She's gonna be joining her thumb to her index finger, and if that changes, okay, I'll just show you how it goes. It's either gonna be structural, nutritional, emotional, or electrical. Okay, so I'm gonna have you, when your arm unlocks, when you're touching the central point, you're gonna separate your feet like this, okay? And then you'll just keep them there, and so bring them back together for now. Okay, so take this hand and touch central. And when this is unlocking, I'll say now. Okay, you ready? Hold. Now. Okay, now don't wiggle. Keep those there. And let me just make sure that that it worked. So this should be weak. If she separated her feet when she touched her central point, which was off, this should show an unlock. So go ahead and touch your, oh, actually, she doesn't have to touch it because she already touched it. Okay, ready? Hold. Got it? Okay, ready? Okay, that is the truth. Okay, so now it is unlocked, and she's gonna keep her feet, and so her body, it's like we push the pause button on a recorder. And the body is recording the information that is related to the central. It says the central is out of balance. It showed a weakness. Now we're basically asking the body, what do you need to correct? So she's gonna join her index finger to her thumb, and I'm gonna test. Now this was showing weak, 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 correct? If one of these fingers, when she touches it, it's gonna switch from weak to suddenly strong, the body is saying, pick me. Okay, it's only going to be one of them, and when we find the first one that locks it, that's what we're going to go with. Okay, you ready?
Do I leave my hand up or do I lay it
Yep,
back
you
down?
can just keep it like that. That's fine. Ready? Hold. Okay, that seemed like a firm lock.
Yeah.
Now, if we want to find out, she untouches her fingers, doesn't do anything, and it should go back to weak. Okay, ready? Hold. That's weak. Now when her body, she puts index finger to thumb, which represents structural, it suddenly changes to strong. Lovely. That's exactly what we want. So I'm gonna look in my book, and this is a structural correction, and it involves rubbing the neurolymphatic points. And so in the book, right here, the neurolymphatic points are listed. It says index finger. We're gonna rub these 2 lines right along your raglan sleeve, it's called, like in your armpit area. And I'll rub these 2 points at the base of your skull, and then we'll retest. So now that we got our information, we found out that she needs a structural correction. She can release that. She can put her feet back together. Doesn't matter. Now I just need to do the balance. So is it okay if I rub your armpit area here? If this is really super tender, she could rub her own. Okay, so it's kind of this long line in the armpit area. Now, if a woman is super buxom, I would probably just have her do it herself if she was uncomfortable with me rubbing. And you could do one side at a time if you needed to. Is this tender in here?
A little bit.
Okay. Sometimes when things are out of balance, they will be tender to the touch. Is it okay if I set my manual in your tummy here? I'm gonna go up under her skull, right at the base of the skull, and there's a picture in the manual that will show you. Okay, now I'm going to retest. I'm going to have her touch her central point and see if there's a shift. Now, We didn't have to do anything more with separating her feet. She's just gonna touch it like we did the first time. First time it unlocked when she touched it. It should show a strengthening now. If it doesn't, we'll rub it a little bit longer. Ready? Hold. Okay, so that's clear. It locked nice and strong. Okay, so now we'll go down the next list. What is the next one in the lineup?
Pericardium.
Pericardium. So what I'm gonna do, you guys, is I'm gonna ask her body, because we work in layers, I'm gonna ask her body if pericardium is still number 2. Sometimes these get switched around as one thing kind of gets dealt with, other things will appear. So pericardium is still number 2, hold. No, okay, pericardium is still number 2, hold. Okay, so let me look at the list.
Stomach.
Okay, so it's what I said, things shifted. As we balanced and corrected central, that affected the whole kind of the domino effect. Okay, so pericardium is not number 2, right? So we'll say stomach. Stomach is number 2. No. Bladder is number 2. And kidney is number 2. Kidney, okay. So we'll swap this out. Number 2. Okay. So I'm gonna get the guide. I'm gonna turn to the kidney page. And that's where it helps if you have your tabs in place. Okay, so kidney, I'm gonna have you touch your kidney point and you can slide your hand at your low back. And I'm gonna muscle test this, and when this is unlocking, you'll separate your feet again, okay?
You'll say when.
Yep, okay, here we go. You ready? Hold, and now. Okay, you can take your hand away, and let's make sure that that it actually paused the weakness. Hold. Okay, this is a weak muscle, right? Okay, that's what we want. Now we're gonna have her join her thumb to her index finger, and we're basically, without words, we're saying, is it a structural correction? Is that what you're looking for? And if it is, the weakness will suddenly switch to strong. If that doesn't work, we'll do the next finger till we find one of these fingers only that it's gonna lock. You ready? Oh, and she can relax your, wait. No, not yet, not yet. Hold, keep here until we get this information. Once we find it, then I'll have you relax your legs. Okay, ready? Not that finger, the next one. Nope. You ready? Nope. And the last one. You ready? Okay, so it's acupressure holding points. So you can relax, you can bring your legs back together. Okay, so the acupressure holding points, I'm going to tonify, I'm gonna touch the tonification points on the sides here. Okay, so we are at kidney 7 on the inside of the legs. And I'm just gonna hold these probably 60 seconds. And I can hold these lightly till I could feel a pulsation possibly. Or she might have a sigh or a yawn. I might have a sigh or a yawn. I have a picture of sedation points and tonification points. You are going to be using the tonification points. It's very, very rare. On a super rare occasion, the sedation points might be called for. If you did tonification and it did not work, I would choose to do them a little bit longer. I would hold them a little bit longer. And if that still did not work, I would switch to the sedation points. But it's really only about 1 out of 100 times that the sedation points would be the answer. It's usually the tonification points.
Can you ask by priority?
You could, yes. Okay. I'm feeling a pulsation here. Sometimes you'll feel it erratically, bump, 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 and then it will synchronize. Okay, I'm gonna retest that. Now she's gonna put her hand on her kidney point behind her back, and if this balanced, it should show a lock-in response. You ready? Okay, I think we're ready to move on. That was lovely. Okay, you can take your hand off of there. So number 2 was kidney. Okay, so now we're gonna go back and we have to find this priority order. So the next one is gonna be pericardium. Yes, okay. So I'm just writing in pericardium. That had been prior number 2, but the body said, let's do that as the 3rd correction. Okay, pericardium. And that was, the point was right between your breasts. And I'm gonna have you, I'll test when it goes weak, you'll separate your feet again. And I'll say now. Okay, hold. And perfect, okay. All right, and we untouch it and we make sure that it's weak. Okay, ready? And now that's good. We know that it took. Now we're gonna go through and find which finger will bring the strength, okay? Structural, hold. Nope. Next one is nutritional, the middle finger, hold. The next one is emotional, hold. And the last one is electrical. Okay, so what happened? Oh, well, okay. Let's touch pericardium one more time. Isn't that what we're on?
Mm-hmm.
Pericardium, you touch right between your breasts. Bring your feet back together. Ready? Okay, let's do that again and separate your feet. Ready? Now. Okay, so let's just do it again. Sometimes we miss something. Let me make sure that it's weak first. Ready? Okay, all right, we'll join the fingers. We'll say structural. Nope. Nutritional. Emotional. And acupressure, electrical. Okay. I don't know what happened. Yes.
Ask her if she feels like it's a safe place to deal with the emotional.
Yeah, I was getting
Oh,
emotional.
very good. Okay. What do you think? If it's emotional, is this a safe place? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's-
Okay.
That was the strongest.
That's perfect. You know what? Thank you so much. Because she doesn't know when she volunteered to come up here, she doesn't know what's going to come up. And if she wasn't ready for that. So you know what? We'll skip that for now. Or would you be okay if I just held your points and we didn't say any words?
That's cool.
Would that be okay?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to just turn in the pericardium section and I'm just going to put my hands on top of your head. That's all. Okay. And I'm going to, usually I pull a chair up, but because this table's fairly low, I think I'm just going to hang out here for a little bit. Okay. All right. And this is a light touch, you guys. Typically, when I have an emotional point come up, I would, go ahead, you can turn my book around. What I usually do is I hold the point and there's a list of negative emotions and I usually release the negative emotions and I speak those out loud and I tell the client that I'm gonna read a list and then if anything stands out to you, if just choose to release it and let it go. And some of these words might mean something and some you might not even make a connection at all. And then after we diffuse the negative words while I'm holding the points on the head, I will replace them with some positive words. It's kind of like you're planting a garden. You pull the weeds out and then you put some beautiful seeds for wildflower garden in its place or whatever. And usually at that point, the client has a really nice release. Sometimes there's tears, sometimes they feel nothing. They're like they didn't even make the connection. Often it will be that later when I talk to the client, maybe in a week or two, they'll say, wow, that was really profound. At first, I didn't really make the connection, but boy, when I got home, things really clicked. So sometimes it's obvious and sometimes not. But even if you don't use words, if you just hold the points on the head, the technique still works. And some people aren't ready to do emotional work, and it depends on your relationship with them. So you just kind of have to use your gut and your intuition, whether you should read the list or just keep it kind of quiet. Okay. And sometimes you'll feel the pulsation on the cranium. If you touch lightly, you might feel the same as I did with the acupressure holding points. You feel a pulsation on one side, then maybe it comes in and it synchronizes. And I'm starting to feel some pulsation on her cranium now. It's very gentle and light. And this can take anywhere from 30 seconds to, if it's a really big issue, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5. If it feels like you don't have enough time to complete it, I often will send them home with the homework of when you get in the privacy of your own space and get some time, just hold your head on these specific points, and then I might give them the emotion list with that and say they can do all the work they want and go as deep as they want when they're in their own private space. Okay, so now I'm going to go back up and I'm going to check the pericardium, the alarm point, and we'll see how that came out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to have you touch right between your breasts here. And if that worked, this should show strong. Okay, you ready? Hold. Okay, is that locking to you? Okay. All right,